Hello everyone, it's Megan Elizabeth with AboveRubyStudio.com. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Tuesday tutorial. This time of year, I feel like we get a lot of brand new card makers out there. It's Valentine's Day season coming up, and there's a lot of people who are looking to just make a card really quick for this time of year. And I wanted to try to do something really simplistic for everyone. Now, I am going to be using the embosser, or I did use the embosser, but only because I already had embossed this sheet of paper using the full 8.5 by 11 folder. However, I wanted to tell you guys, anybody that wants to kind of recreate this at home, you can do that very simply. All you're going to need is some white cardstock, red cardstock, and then grab any kind of pattern. You can grab a pattern, you can grab an already pre-textured cardstock, you can grab pretty much anything that you want that would go just simply with the red and white that you're using. I'm actually using more of a gray white with this. These are both the same color sheets of paper. And I thought the embossing looked really great. If you are an experienced crafter, experienced card maker, go ahead and run some paper through your embossing machine, whether you have the Cuttlebug, the Big Shot, the embosser, which I definitely recommend. You know, you can kind of mix it up, do it that way, you know, however it would actually work for you. But we're going to create a card, really a basic one. I'm going to show you guys what an A2 size card is. A2 is a pretty standard size card for crafters. An A2 size card is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that you're going to cut in half. Now you can do it either way, depending on whether, you know, what kind of orientation you want to try, landscape or portrait style card. I like to cut it at the 11 inch. So because I'm cutting it at 11, you're going to go to 5.5 inches on any paper trimmer, and you're going to cut it right down the middle at 5.5 inches. All right, and then you have two card bases ready to go when you fold them in half. Very basic, very simple, lots of fun. And I don't know why all my bone folders are missing, but for the best clean, oh wait, you know what I have? Maybe, maybe not. All right, so my bone folder is missing, so you can just make do with something like a pen. Sometimes pens leave little marks, so you want to be careful if you're using something. All right, that was pretty clean and crisp. I like getting those crisp corners on cards that I'm working on. All right, so we're going to start with that. Then we're going to take our red cardstock and we're going to actually cut this down. So this size, when this card is folded in half, it becomes 4.25 by 5.5 inches. 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. And so I want to cut this down to 5.25 by 4 inches. All right. And this is just very basic. So there's an overhang on all 4 sides of my white. I want to use some dimensional adhesive on this. So go pick up a pack of the, like the Megan Elizabeth Embellishment Combo Pack. You can use that. You can use any kind of adhesive that you have laying around at home with some dimension to them. It's a very simple thing to pick up. You don't need a lot of supplies to create this card. That's kind of the idea, is that anybody can kind of recreate it and do something beautiful and simplistic. Alright, so just a few pieces. We're going to place this down in the center, and then you get that great extra dimension. It'll still fit inside an envelope. And then we're going to use this on the card. And we want to pay attention to our sizing again. I want to go with, I'm going to cut this down to just under 5 inches. A little more than 4 3/4, just sort of in that range somewhere. All right. Now what I'm going to do is cut 1.5 inch strips. So 1.5 inches. Oops, did I do 1.5 or 1.25 and not even realize it? No, I did 1.5. Okay, 1.5. 1.5. And then I'm going to place these on here. These are going to go straight down on the card, these two side panels, and then this one's going to be popped up in the center. So it's kind of overlapping, and it just gives another great extra bit of texture and dimension. So let's grab our adhesive. I am going to grab my Glue Glider Pro. And make sure I line this back up the right way. Yep, okay. So this is going right here. Line up the outer edges first. That's going to be your key, is lining up the outer edges so that you have the right amount of border on both sides first. And then this piece is going to get your dimension. Alright, so then you're going to have the overlap, just like so. Alright, so it's just a fun little way to give, a lot of texture dimension to a card without going crazy. Now, if you're not using an embossed sheet that's the same color, use your pattern paper and just cut it into those strips and then layer it up. So it's just going to give that great, you put a lot of extra time and effort into this instead of just slapping down pattern paper on top of solid cardstock. Alright, now I want to grab my red cardstock, and nothing says Valentine's Day more than a heart. And you don't need fancy punches or fancy machines. You can hand cut out a heart, and I don't want you to be afraid to do that. Grab your red cardstock and go in, start in the corner, and just move your paper around. We all cut out hearts as kids. We can do it again as adults. And don't be afraid if it's a little bit wonky. It shows that it was handmade. Alright, you can always go in and clean up any, really rough corners, rough spots, which I'm going to do right now. You could always hand draw a heart and then cut it out if you're really, really worried about it. But I like it. It's a little wonky. Alright, we're going to put a little bit of flat adhesive right on this corner here, and then we're also going to need a little bit of dimensional adhesive on the other side. A tiny bit of dimension on this side where it hangs off, because there's dimension on here, so you want it to kind of stick to where it has dimension but not make it higher than where it has dimension. So does that make sense? So flat adhesive on the part that's raised, dimensional adhesive on the part that's still flat. Right. Good deal. Now, from this heart, I am going to grab a strip of this color, this white, but I'm going to do it without the texture. So you can grab that card piece. Whoa, that was crooked. Let's grab a straight piece. And it doesn't have to be real thick, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, something like that. I'm actually going to make a little mark here. I want to cut this so I know how much I have room to work with, and I'm actually going to flag cut it. And to flag cut it, you just go in a V, or pennant cut it. Okay, very popular. That's all you need to do. Go in with your scissors. There's no fancy dies or punches or anything required. And we're going to place this down underneath the heart, and it's going to come out the side, just like so. And I'm going to write "You Belong With Me." And I'm actually thinking I don't like the purple on here. I don't like the purple on here, so I'm going to change my mind. But I'm using my handwriting still. I am going to still use my handwriting. Cutting back in. You can redo this. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I make mistakes. I make things that I don't necessarily like at the end, and you just change them up. Don't be afraid. It's not taking a ton of time. The purple just didn't quite work with the red like I thought the glistening would. Just not the way I wanted it to be. So we'll go back in with the silver, and this works perfect. And this one is actually called, I think this one's called Sky Dust. But yeah, same thing. It's a silver color. And want that to dry so you don't smear it. Alright. Straight Glue Glider Pro along the back. And then have it sticking out of your heart. Like so. And you might need to grab a little bit of extra dimensional adhesive for under this part of the pendant, because you can see there's dimension there. You might want to grab just a little bit more, but that's up to you. I love the way this turned out. It was so simple and easy to do. You can even go in and add a little bit of accent to your heart with that silver to kind of tie things together for you. Connect that silver and silver, and even do like a silver edge around the outside if you really want to get fancy. I do not. I go crazy with my stitching sometimes, but today I'm going to leave it be. So that's all you really need. Just grab your favorite color paper and cardstock, hand cut out those shapes, grab a standard paper trimmer, your favorite adhesive, some pop dots, and you're good to go. I really hope that this inspired you, especially if you are a first-time card maker and you really want to tell somebody you care about them this Valentine's Day. This is a great way to get started. Enjoy the moments, and I hope to see you again at AboveRubyStudio.com. Bye-bye.